Tecno's Camon Series is meant to be the highest end lineup of Tecno smartphones right now, but this right here is the Tecno Spark Slim, the latest entry in the Spark series, and is boldly claiming to be the best budget smartphone on the market. So in this video, I'm putting it up against the similarly priced Camon 40 across these 7 key categories here to find out whether the Spark series has finally caught up to the premium Camon series or if it's still well behind. Let's begin with the design and build quality. In terms of how they look, I would say that I really appreciate how original their aesthetics are. Whilst the Camon 40 comes with a brand new, never before seen design that is clearly much better than those before it, the Spark Slim goes for something a bit more futuristic with that camera design that looks quite cool and creepy at the same time. The Camon 40 is also much bulkier than Slim, not because it's a bulky phone, but simply because the Slim is very slim. Measuring just 5.9mm in thickness, the Spark Slim is the thinnest smartphone in the world with a curved display. And because of how slim it is, I honestly thought it would easily bend and break. That's where the build quality comes in. In this part, you'd probably expect the Camon 40 to be way more durable than the Slim. But take a look at this. Both phones have some level of drop resistance which, while not guaranteed to survive serious impacts like this, can still protect against accidental slips. And although the Camon 40 does have the slightly better IP66 rating compared to the IP64 on the Spark Slim, they can both survive being placed in water for a few minutes. So this category honestly ends up as a draw. And if you are enjoying this video, kindly tap that like button right now so more people can see it. And also don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Okay, so what about the external features? Well, I'll tell you right now that this is one of the areas that surprised me the most because of how well Tecno engineered the Spark Slim. One would think that because the Slim is so slim, they will cut corners to keep it that way. But guess what? The Camon 40 is matched in almost every aspect. Both phones come with an under-display fingerprint scanner for security. They both lack a headphone jack, but then adequately compensate for that with proper high-quality stereo speakers, and they also both sport notification LEDs. Now, the Camon 40 has this red dot notification LED which beeps during notifications, and while it's fine, it doesn't look anywhere near as cool as the one on the Slim, which looks like actual eyes. Maybe that's why it's so creepy. But I still said almost because not everything is the same here. For some reason, which I guess may be down to size limitations, the Spark Slim doesn't support a micro SD card, which honestly isn't cool considering that this is something we've had since, 1991. They do try to make up for that with a generous 256GB of storage, which is quite acceptable, but still not perfect because while it might be enough for some users, for others it won't be. That said, since it's not an actual deal breaker and most of other features are evenly matched, this ends up yet again as a draw. Now let's turn to the display. Which one actually has the better screen? Well, brace yourself because this is where things really start to get juicy. There are a lot of reasons why Tecno's Camon series has been so dominant from the very beginning, and one of the biggest is the display. Believe it or not, every Camon screen has been so incredible and flagship like that it often looked like other phones weren't even trying. Until now, the Camon 40 comes with a 6.78-inch 1080p AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate and about 1400 nits of brightness, which is no doubt as good as displays get even in 2026. However, it's honestly crazy to see a smartphone finally breaking that cycle. Listen to this, a 6.78-inch 1.5K AMOLED panel with a 144Hz refresh rate and a massive 4500 nits of brightness. This is not just a better display, it's absolutely demolished that of the Camon 40. It's brighter, sharper, smoother, more bezel-less, even has better protection. What the heck is Panda Glass? Now, even now speaking mainly from a spec sheet perspective here, in real side-by-side use, the average user probably won't notice a dramatic difference because both displays still look really good for content consumption. But that's not an excuse on the part of the Camon 40. The point clearly goes to the Spark Slim. That leads us to the performance. Can a smartphone finally challenge a high-end Camon phone, or is it still just behind? Well, powering the Tecno Camon 40 is the MediaTek Helio G100, whilst the Spark Slim is powered by the more advanced, better performing Helio G200. I honestly don't understand what Tecno did. They are literally cooking with the Slim here. A Spark phone with a much better chipset than a Camon phone? I thought it might just be slightly behind or at the very least match up, but it's clear that they were ready to overtake. And this feels like just the beginning. This is 2020, so who knows what they might bring to the Spark 50 series or even a Spark Slim 2 if they decide to make one. However, that still doesn't mean the Camon 40 is totally pointless. In terms of actual use, both phones are going to be feeling very fast when it comes to uploading times, multitasking, even extended gaming sessions. But at the end of the day, the Spark Slim is still the better phone for performance overall, which makes it take the point respectively. Now we're moving on to the software here. In this area, I initially thought they would be exactly the same since they are both Tecno phones, but that's not entirely true. From a visual perspective, they are identical, same layout, same UI, and the same software and AI features. However, the real difference here is the longevity. How long are these phones going to last? And unfortunately, it doesn't favor the Slim. While the Camon 40 is confirmed to receive 3 years of software updates, Tecno hasn't confirmed any update support for the Spark Slim at all since its release. I even went to their website to double check, and nope, there's nothing there. And it's honestly frustrating because the slightly cheaper Spark 40 Pro Plus as well as the similarly priced competitor, the Infinix Hot 60 Pro Plus, both come with the same 3 years of updates. Does that automatically make it a bad thing? No, because at this price point, I'm pretty sure that there will be some sort of updates. And even if Tecno hasn't confirmed yet, they might still roll them out later eventually. However, I can only judge based on what is officially confirmed right now. So the Camon 40 takes the point in this category. And that brings us to the battery experience. Now, you do have to realize that since both of these phones have at least a 5000 mAh cell, they will easily last the average user an entire day no matter the scenario. Whether browsing the internet, watching movies, or even gaming, they will both satisfy. But here's the thing, which one between them actually has better battery life? Well, I was initially going to pick the Camon 40 because of its 5200 mAh cell, which I didn't think Tecno could achieve considering how slim they make the Spark Slim. After all, batteries are one of the major components that add to a phone's size and weight. That's why phones like the iPhone Air and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge come with terrible battery capacities, which in my opinion it just isn't worth it. But then what Tecno did with the Spark Slim genuinely surprised me. It literally blew me away. This phone measured just 5.9mm, yet somehow still found a way to pack in a 5160 mAh battery, which is basically 5200 mAh without exaggeration. And what's crazy is that despite the Spark Slim being much lighter and thinner, it still matches the Camon 40 in battery size. And when it comes to the charging, both phones support super fast 45W fast charging, filling up in about an hour, which is great. So this category surprisingly ends up as a draw. But now we're on to the category I've been most excited about, the cameras. The Camon series has been known for having unique cameras that Tecno keep improving year after year. So here's the big question, as impressive and surprising as the Spark Slim has been throughout this video so far, can it finally take over with better cameras? Well, let's find out. At first glance, it doesn't actually look that different because both phones come with a 50MP main sensor which will suggest similar photo output. But here's where things start to escalate. The Spark Slim comes with just a single camera, which honestly didn't impress me one bit. Even if it was just an auxiliary lens, Tecno should have added something. And this is where the Camon 40 begins pulling ahead. It's the lowest model in the entire Camon 40 lineup, but that doesn't stop it from outright embarrassing the Slim. First, it comes with a dedicated ultra-wide camera, meaning far more versatility than the Spark Slim can offer. It also has several unique camera software features, with the most impressive being Flash Snap, a mode that captures high motion scenes using advanced processing to produce a sharp, non-grainy image, which is something I honestly haven't seen many other phones do to this level even today. And when you pair that with better optical image stabilization and better 32MP selfie camera, the Camon 40 doesn't just end this point, it literally commands it. Wow. So there you have it, 5 points for the Spark Slim and 5 points for the Camon 40. And this is honestly insane because I initially expected the Camon 40 being a Camon Series phone to completely decimate the Spark Slim. But I can now confidently argue that if it weren't for the Camon 40's superior cameras and camera features, it would have been the one getting decimated by a Spark phone. So what does it mean for the average consumer? If you are someone who cares about aesthetics, loves how thin and lightweight the Slim looks, and doesn't care too much about having the best cameras, then the Spark Slim is the one for you. But if cameras matter to you or you just want a more reliable and refined software experience that doesn't disappoint, then the Camon 40 is the better choice. They both cost around 300k and are available pretty much everywhere. But if you are still not satisfied for some weird reason and would want to know literally everything about either of these two phones, click any card on the screen right now and I'll tell you all about it.